Hey YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the Printosaurus. So today we're going to do something with our A1 Mini. As I said in some of my earlier videos that you can see here, eventually we would expand to the AMS Lite. So that's what we have here. We have our AMS Lite, and we're going to go through putting this thing together, getting it configured. We'll show kind of a step-by-step, and then walk through printing with it, any hidden features we may find, any insight to kind of getting this configured a little better. We'll walk through everything and then we'll see where we're at with it. And as always, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you guys, any future videos, anything you want to see. If you have any questions, please ask below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks. Today's video is brought to you by PCBWay. We're going to jump over to the website and we're going to run through how to upload and print. PCBWay.com, select 3D printing, drag and drop your files, select your quantity, select your material type, resin, nylon, PLA, select your color. Then you can do infill densities they give examples of. You can also get examples of the filament type you're using. Once you're settled, click add and then submit a request. So got this thing out of the box, comes in a couple of pieces. This is kind of the main unit where your 4 spools kind of go on here, and then they feed up through these motors. So we'll take a look at this. Comes with a stand, like I said, a couple of pieces. Instruction manual. Should we read the instructions? Should we wing it? Should we read these? Should probably read these, huh? Okay, we'll be right back. So a couple things here. We got 2 spindle holders here that will pop into place. And then we've got our PTFE tubes here on top. And these just, connect to the printer, connect to the feeders. Not a lot of extra stuff in here. It was packaged pretty well. This material is pretty stout. Everything had a place. Everything arrived good. No issues there whatsoever. So we've got a couple zip ties that we're going to cut here, and then we're going to take the base that we have here. So a couple screws, base slides on like so, and then we kind of screw this guy in place. Very, very simple install. No real surprises here. Everything looks to be manufactured really well. Again, here's our PTFE tubes. They just stick into the 4 slots. They've got them kind of all tied together with a little holder here to make it a little easier to get those going. So we'll take a look at this spindle holder. All right, so spindle holder looks to just pop on in place. So to do that, they're color coded. So this says pair with the green side. So if you take a look, we've got yellow or gold on this side, and then over here we have our green. So we're going to go ahead and take this, and it just kind of pops in place. There you go. Pretty simple, pops in place, and all set there. So we'll grab the other one. Okay, and then this one here, gold to gold, so you can just pop it on the other side. This one already had the front 2 installed, so easy, super easy. And then right here on your base, you've got 1, 2, and then on the other side, another 2 screws. And that's pretty much it for assembly. Super simple. I like that Bambu, I feel like, does a great job with making, the A1 Mini was a breeze to put together. There wasn't a lot out of the box that you had to do. So if you're just starting out with this stuff, again, it's probably, I said it, it is the best entry-level printer on the market, in my opinion. And Bambu's marketing agrees, considering they're calling it the GOAT of all entry-level printers. And it's right on the mark. This is a great printer, great price. It's affordable, it's easy to use, the assembly has been easy, and even adding a AMS Lite later, super simple. Not a lot involved so far in assembly or getting it together. So we do have some feet here. It looks like kind of fell out. So those just kind of pop right back here into place. Pretty easy. So those pop in there, just like that. Nothing difficult. Looks like it may have just fallen out of place during shipping. And that just kind of keeps it in place. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in those 4 screws that I talked about that go on each side here. And then we'll move on to actually installing this into the printer. Everything is right here that you need. Super simple, it plugs into the side of the printer, and then we'll hop into some configuration that's on the screen of the printer to get this thing registered and set up. So a couple of configuration things to pay attention to is, if you look here, you've got a left side or right side, right? You've got 1, 2, and then 3, 4. So they want you to use, with your PTFE tubes, install your shorter tubes like this, and then your longer tubes over here on the right side. So pay attention when you're doing that. That's really the only thing that stood out in the instruction. The side that plugs into your A1 Mini, obviously all the same length, because the hub that they plug into doesn't have any distances to travel. So here, you've got a short side, which, when you get this angled and pointed over to your printer, and then you would need the longer tubes on the further side, the side that's further away from your printer. So pay attention to that in your instructions. Otherwise, this thing was super easy, super straightforward. And also pay attention to the spindles and the colors that they coordinate to. Just double check that stuff. Something I have noticed is Bambu has been packaging some nicer tools. This has a little molded handle on it, the Allen key. I'll show you here. I have one. So this is what was packaged with my X1 Carbon. Still does the job. It's great, but it's nice to have a little molded handle. I think it's a nice little touch, and we got those screws installed. Super simple. Again, here it is. Boom, AMS Lite. It is pretty light compared to the actual AMS. A little easier to move around. So we're going to get this thing in place. I'll show you those steps next, and we'll start some configuration, and then we'll start printing with it. We'll do a multicolor print. We'll show that and tell you what I think. Got our AMS Lite. They want it positioned to the right side of your printer, and then we've got our PTFE tubes installed. Short are in 1 and 2, and long are in 3 and 4. And then what I've already gone ahead and done is plugged in the AMS into the A1 Mini. And if you look at the instructions, they're referencing, there's 2 ports here, and they're referencing what looks like the back port. So that's one we used. It doesn't really say which one to use, but comparing the instructions and what it looked like, we went ahead and plugged that into the back. So now what we're going to do is plug this into the hub. There's a 4-port hub here on top of your tool head. And the way I'm going to do this is similar to the pictures. So I'm just kind of tracing out where the longer tubes are. So the long tubes are these 2 here. And I'm going to install them on the outside here. So 1 and 2 here. And then I'm going to take these shorter tubes and install them right here. We've got everything plugged in. Everything's looking real good. We've got lights to the unit. They're all flashing. And the first thing that came up on our screen here is a new firmware update is available. So I'm going to go ahead and hit update for that. And that looks to be updating the AMS Lite. And that appears to be a relatively quick update. It took about 30 seconds or so. Okay, so it says update is successful, so we're done with that. We'll go back, and that was in fact an AMS update that it did. So we are now all up to date with that. And again, if I hit the filament button, I've got all 4 ports, so we're going to go through the load of filament next. So things to pay attention to when you are mounting your spools is your number 1 spool, you're going to want it to wind this way. And then your number 2 spool will be the opposite. It's going to spin this way. All right, so we're going to go ahead and load in a couple spools of filament here. I'm just kind of following the example that they have. So spool goes on, kind of clips in place this way. Okay. All right. So we've got our first piece of filament loaded. Wasn't too bad. So it's automatically detected the color. We're going to move on to our second spool. Again, you're going to want to mount this so that it is pulling the filament this way. All right, so that spool's on. So again, we're pulling our filament this way. So we'll go ahead and get this one loaded. And it's taking it. So you're going to want to push in on this button, kind of hold it, push the filament in, and then it kind of takes over from there. And the order of operations is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll go ahead and load our white. I'm going to hop around on this side to do this. Just bear with me. Okay, so here, so we got our white loaded. It is in, and it's a little awkward. Okay, so number 3 is in. That was a little hard to do. I will say the standard AMS is a lot easier to load, which I guess can be expected based on the design of this one. And then I'll jump in here and get spool number 4 loaded. And again, you press that button, kind of push it in, and you can see it taken over there. So here you can see we've got all 4 of our spools loaded. We've got pink, yellow, white, and green. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're all loaded. Go back to filament. We can hit 1, and we'll hit load. So what I'm doing now is I'm just seeing if I can get the filament to go ahead and load into the hot end itself. Very similar operation for when you do the external filament. And this is just to make sure everything pulls through. You can kind of see your filament here, so it looks like it pulls quite a bit in and kind of stages it a little bit closer to the tool head. So this tells me that this is probably going to be a faster unit than what the standard AMS is, because that unit pulls the filament all the way back to a little 4-port hub that sits underneath that AMS unit. So this actually loads it, and you're about 12 inches from the tool head here, all 4 colors. So this will probably be a lot faster. I haven't really read a whole lot into the AMS Lite, so this is actually my first experience with it. So we're kind of learning on the fly. So the AMS Lite is all configured. It's all set up. We got it plugged in. We did a test print. This is a 4-color print. I printed a Hulk wall art. This particular artist has a number of cool wall arts. I will send that link below in the description of this video. So in terms of purging, compared to, say, the original AMS. You know, I don't know if you can really see here, but it seems like the waste is a little bit smaller, which is nice. I don't think it's purging as much material as, say, the original AMS does. I know there's tuning that you can do to the AMSs to decrease the amount of purge, and I'm going to do a video on how to set that up and how to tune that to kind of minimize your waste, because at the end of the day, both systems are purging material, which means you are wasting some material. Obviously you have to purge so you don't get any bleed over of colors when you're switching colors, but we'll see if we can fine tune the AMS Lite further to decrease even more. But so far, definitely less purge waste than the original AMS, which is nice. The AMS Lite does color changes extremely well. It is a bit faster than the traditional AMS. I think that is because of the distance that the filament has to travel. It's a lot less with the AMS Lite. And I also use the PLA Galaxy, and that video is here. I just did a review on it and gave my inputs on it. But it turned out pretty well as a substitute. I substituted the black, and it gave it like a cool kind of purplish flicker, which is pretty neat. But overall, really happy with the quality of print that I have here. And yeah, we're going to keep diving into the AMS Lite. We're going to do some mods to it. Maybe we'll make a top mount for that. There's a number of wall mounts available now. You know, we'll change things as needed. I don't really need to change anything with my particular setup, but if you are interested in seeing how that works, more than happy to do it so that I can get that information to you. So stay tuned. I appreciate the support. Please like, subscribe, and comment.